Virgo, hello, it's me, LB. Welcome to the Untitled Tarot. So, Virgo, I have laid out your spread this week with a combination of the Sacred Forest Oracle and the Good Tarot mixed together. This was the combination that you were really kind of keen on today. I like this story. I like what I see on the board here. It does seem as though you are being asked to temporarily sit down so that way you can get a leg up on your general situation. Now, in the beginning, it doesn't feel like you are loving that idea. You're not loving this advice that you're getting. But by the end of your spread, it seems like you are fully understanding why you had to take a step down, why you had to kind of take a seat for a moment. And I actually think that by the end of it, you're really grateful that you did, because there's a lot of really important stuff that comes in for you in the interim. So we're going to pray and then we're just going to dive on into it. Very good. Father God, thank you for bringing me and my Virgos in for this reading. I ask that you give me wisdom, clarity, and discernment to deliver these messages accurately for Virgo's highest of love, light, alignment, and assignment. We praise you, we love you, we thank you always. We give you all the glory and the honor for these messages. Please allow me to be of the highest service possible to the utmost high. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen, Virgo. So, the first two cards that are coming out for you, I can get them off the board, is we have the Star, and we have this Queen of Water right here. This Star card feels like this pouring out. You see her little jug? It feels like there is some kind of information, something that is being poured out into what seems like your subconscious, your emotional body. It feels like a lot of this is happening while you're sleeping. It's the feeling of you're sleeping pretty good. It feels like you're in like this nice deep sleep. And there is a lot of information, there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of guidance. It's all coming in while you're sleeping, but very quickly after you wake up, you're not really remembering it. I don't necessarily think that that is a problem. I don't think that you are necessarily supposed to be remembering it. It's just the fact that it's being downloaded within your psyche, within your subconscious, that seems to be the most important thing. Now, this Star card, it does feel a lot like source energy. It is really high vibrational in a way. Geese might be like an Easter egg or a confirmation for you, Virgo. There's just been a lot of geese stuff that seems to be popping up today. It's like everywhere I look, there's a goose. It's like this very like mother goose type of energy, but there's definitely this pouring out that's happening for you while you're sleeping. It does seem to be coming from a higher order of energy. Now, the Page of Air is coming up next. And so what seems to be happening is there may be confirmations or signs or synchronicities that are manifesting for you in your everyday life. When I pulled these cards, I immediately heard deja vu. And so there is something about whatever is manifesting outside of you as a sign or confirmation, it's almost triggering a remembrance of something that was either implanted in you while you were sleeping, or something that you used to know, but along the lines you forgot. It's like you're seeing a sign, and you may even be seeing like normal signs or synchronicities, but in a new way. Like they're sort of taking on a new meaning for you. And it's that feeling of deja vu of, oh, like I've seen this before. Like I remember this, but I'm not sure from where. I don't know how I know this thing, but I remember it. It's that sort of feeling. It might be linking up, one, to, again, information that you knew a long time ago, but as we learn more and more and more, sometimes we forget kind of like the basics, the beginning building blocks that we start with, but it's also likely that it's triggering a memory or a knowing, something that, again, kind of got poured into while you were sleeping, but you didn't remember when you woke up. Now, the Eight of Fire is coming up next, and so it feels as if, how do I want to describe this? This Eight of Fire, it feels like an echo chamber. So whatever guidance, whatever knowing, whatever deja vu you seem to be experiencing, it feels like it's happening just for you. The way you relate to that sign or relate to that symbol or that goose or that inner knowing, it feels like it's just for you. You're the only one that's tapping into it. You're the only one that's recognizing it. There's also an important message about how it pertains only to you. Because this maple spirit, generosity, comes up next. And so there seems to be this habit or this tendency that you have, Virgo, for sharing, maybe even oversharing sometimes, but it feels like you're seeing something, it's triggering this deja vu or this remembrance, this, oh, I've seen that before. I knew this, but I kind of forgot about it. And there's this instinct. 8 of Fire is often movement and communication, right? So there's this instinct that you have to immediately go and share it with other people. It might even be like good news for you. It's this feeling that you have and the signs are linking up. And it's this generosity of your own spirit that you want to share the good news, that you want to spread the cheer, you want to let, the townspeople know that like help is on the way, or you got this sign, or right, like it's coming from this really beautiful part of you. They're really highlighting the red on this maple tree as well, and how it's kind of connected to the root. It's this way about you where you like to include everyone into everything. You don't, it's like no man left behind. You want everyone to like catch the word or, get that download. It's this thing that you have. And it feels important for you to share it with other people because you seem to be the only one that is tapping into it or recognizing it or remembering it. However, this earth spirit stability comes up next, and here you are kind of being forced to sit down. And so there seems to be this message here, and it may come in like very quickly right before you go to share something, and it's this instinct of don't say anything, don't tell them, keep it to yourself. And it creates a little bit of this confusion in your head because you're going, but this is good news, this is a good sign, no one else is talking about this, like I want to share it. And then they telling you, sit down, Virgo. You need to stabilize in this energy. You need to allow the subconscious and the physical representation of that energy to integrate into your own life. You need to be totally solid in your own way of thinking. This information, again, it's an echo chamber. Like it's just for you. It's not supposed to be shared with everyone. You need to kind of sit down and stabilize. And the word concrete, stabilize in this energy and have it be concrete for you before you pass it off to other people and allow them to use it as a building block. And I do feel like a bit of frustration here because it just doesn't feel right in a way. But I also think that it's a sign of how quick you are, Virgo, to almost sacrifice your own footing, or sometimes it's being a bad receiver. It's like you receive something but immediately you hand it off to other people, because if you don't, it feels like you're withholding or you're being selfish, or it's that sort of thing. What I notice here though, and this seems to be kind of like a by the way, Virgo, there's these swans in the corner. Swans are really connected to like love and that Venusian energy and like all of that beauty. And so there's a message here, Virgo, about we're not telling you not to share with the rest of the class because we don't want other people to have good news. It's not that we want to keep people in the dark, Virgo. We're doing it because we love you. This is a necessary step for you to keep this information to yourself for the time being, for you to fully understand it for yourself in the time being. But the funny thing about swans is, I love that swans, they symbolize love, and again, Venus energy, beauty and harmony and all of the stuff. But like, have you ever seen a swan like in real life? They're pretty nasty. Like, they are not particularly friendly. They do not like people. They are really, really protective. And this is the point of why you need to sit down, why you kind of have to zip it a little bit. It's because where this energy, where this information, where it's coming from, the source of it loves you so much, and they're trying to protect you. So even though you're a little bit frustrated, it feels like when you get that instinct to not speak or to sit down or to not share, it frustrates you, but it's almost them being sort of strict with you and going, we're trying to protect you. It's like, it feels very short. It feels very like on the nose, like no arguments, Virgo. You cannot tell other people, we love you. We're trying to protect you from something that you are not even aware of that you need to be protected from. So please just sit here and like listen to what I'm telling you. The call is coming up next, and it's being followed by this family card, wolf spirit. And so one, this is sort of pick up the phone, like listen to your guidance, listen to us. But it also feels as if there is a call that went out, a signal, a bat signal, a sign that went out that sort of alerted everyone that like you needed help, that like it was about time for you to start moving. But before you did, you needed more tools in your toolbox. This family energy, it's coming through distinctly like actual family. Not necessarily soul tribe, not necessarily your galactic or your actual ancestral, your family, your bloodline energy. And when I looked at this wolf card, this one stands out most prominently, right? But if you pay attention, you can see that another wolf is coming out here and another wolf is coming out here. And then I was looking back at this earth spirit and I realized that like you have all of these butterflies, one after another, and they all seem to kind of be like trickling in. So in this moment where you're kind of asked to sit down and sort of zip it and refrain from sharing, you might not necessarily know where that energy or that instinct or that guidance is immediately coming from, but very quickly it becomes obvious that it's your actual family or your ancestors, your bloodline. And again, with these wolves, it's a sort of like metaphysical energy, and these butterflies, it's like it's organize my thoughts. It's like how I was saying in the beginning of your read, that you're pulling in all of this information in your subconscious and it's being reflected in physical signs or synchronicities outside of you. It feels like that is happening as well. Like there are physical signs or synchronicities, maybe through certain animals like a butterfly or a wolf or geese that are flying around, right? That are connected to your ancestors. Like your grandma always shows up as a butterfly. Like it's that type of thing. But before you know it, it's sort of like this trickling in of all of this family ancestor coming in. It's almost like they need backup because you're stubborn. That's kind of, it's like you won't listen the first time. So it's like your whole ancestral bloodline is like coming in to like surround you, right? And going, Virgo, no, like sit down. And there's just like a lot more of them. The thing is I don't know how aware you are of that energy. You might sense like an additional spiritual presence around you, but you might not know entirely what it is. It's because it's your family. Their energy signatures are really similar to yours. Their energy feels really similar to yours. And so you won't immediately recognize it as an other. Does that make sense? The thing is that it's being followed up by this Hermit card. So one, it's sort of like family spirits, ancestors. It's kind of like one, like they're coming out of hiding, or it's like they're coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden and making their way to you, either because it wasn't time for them to be more present within your life or your spiritual journey, or because you just weren't able to access them or speak to them. You weren't aware that they were even there trying to be a part of your support system. With this Hermit card, realizing now as they're stepping out from kind of behind this store, there are all of these keys strung up at the top. Now, the keys are coming forward like, they're showing it to me like a computer, like an access key or an access code. There's something, Virgo, about the fact that one, these ancestor energies, or even this guidance, whatever's being poured into you, whatever is now surrounding you, it has always been accessible to you, but you've needed to kind of reach for it. These keys are so high that, I mean, you know, it feels like logically you would have to stretch in order to get them. And I was saying in the beginning that this star card does feel like a higher order. And so there's something about these energies have always been accessible, the guidance, the information, it's always been there, but you've had to kind of be at like a certain level. Like you've had to be at a certain vibration. It's a growing pain. Like you've needed to sort of stretch in order to get it. I don't know if you've totally done that up to this point. I think maybe that's why a sort of call went out saying Virgo is not really stretching up. They're trying to stretch out. They're trying to share. They're trying to catch air. They're trying to go, right? But they're not stretching up. So we're going to come in and we're going to explain this to you. We're going to come out from behind the magic curtain. Now, the Four of Fire comes up next. And if you notice, see the string of keys and the string of lights? You're up there now. And I think that's a lot of what is being deposited in you. It may be the energies that you've needed in order to uplift your vibration to the point that you could perceive them and more clearly understand what it is that they're trying to tell you. And so you're sitting here and you're in this vibration, but you don't totally seem happy about it. You have this flute. It's this feeling of your family, your ancestors, they are surrounding you. They are holding you at this certain vibrational level so you can see them, perceive what they're trying to tell you, but you have to hold it. It's like holding a squat to stay up there, and it feels very uncomfortable for you. And with this flute here, it feels like practice. Like you have to practice, Virgo, almost like not sharing so much immediately. You have to practice staying at like a certain level of consciousness so that way you can, again, more clearly understand who and what is around you and why the guidance is coming in. It reminds me of like when you're a kid and you don't want to practice piano, but your parents make you. They're like, you're going to sit on this bench and you're going to pull out your program and you're going to sit there and you are going to learn this piece of music. And so you're just sitting there going, da na 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 na, like you're not super happy about it at all, but it feels necessary. It's you might even have that feeling of like, I'm in trouble. You ever have that? You're like, am I in trouble? Like, is Jesus mad at me? Like, did I do something? No, it's like you're just kind of keeping an eye on you, making sure that you're kind of practicing what it is that you need to know. But we do have this temptation card coming up next. And so it actually, you can see her sort of looking off to the side. It actually looks like you're looking at this temptation card like, damn, like, I want to go out and play with my friends, or I want to go tell people this stuff. Part of what you're practicing, part of this stretch, this growing pain or this squat, it's you not immediately going back to the way that you've always done things. We see this big luscious piece of fruit. It's like we see this treasure chest, this cup full of gold coins. And there's this aspect that you have, Virgo, of, I know how to do it. Like, I know what I want to do. Like, I know how it should be. I know how it should go, right? I don't necessarily want to listen to this guidance. I want to listen to my own guidance, right? But the Three of Air is coming up next. And so there is this level of practice and self-discipline in you having to turn away from some of the more indulgent qualities that you have sometimes that make you want to do things the way you want to do them, how you want to do them, even if it's actually not the best thing for you, right? And maybe that's part of this, the protection energy that comes off of this swan. We know that you know what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it. But we're trying in a way to almost protect you from yourself because that old way of doing things, it's not working for you anymore. And I hear you in the ethers. I hear you going, well, how do you know? Like I hear you arguing with your family and I hear your family going, well, how's that working out for you so far? It's like, and that's kind of funny. It's like your ancestors, this family energy that's coming in for you, it's like they are just as tough, like they are just as hard-headed and stubborn as you are. So it's a pretty good match. But I do see you with this Three of Air recognizing, choosing to defer to a higher order of guidance, to not share anything with anyone just yet, to sit here, to hold this vibration, to practice this new level of self-discipline and allow yourself to defer your judgment to doing things a different way, even if it doesn't make sense to you right now. And this High Priestess comes up next. Now, one, this could be an aspect of your higher self, your higher consciousness. However, because this reading is seeped with family energy, it actually does feel like a matriarch. Whoever was the high priestess or the high priest, it feels like a deeply feminine energy, but it's like whoever was the matriarch of your family, or whoever was sort of the boss, or who wore the pants, or who was sort of the main keeper of the magic in your family. It feels like they're paying really close attention to you, Virgo. If you look at this sort of circle right on her third eye, it's coming through to me today like an actual lens, like security footage. It's like the main matriarch or the main high priestess or the keeper of the magic in your family, whether or not you knew them when they were alive, they are like zoomed in on you and watching almost like every step you take to make sure that you're taking them properly. And it's because of this Ace of Water. Now, and this card's never come through this way for me before, but I noticed there's almost like this coral down here. It sort of looks like webbing or like netting. And it's the first time I've pulled this Ace of Water, and I noticed the tail of the seahorse and how it almost felt like it was holding the pearl up, like it was clutching it in a way. And there's something about like not dropping the ball or being aware of your surroundings or other energies, not getting too relaxed or too comfortable that like the pearl slips from you. You might have had like a lot of false starts, Virgo, where things were going well, and then next thing you know, like everything just like went to shit, where it went away and you didn't understand why. And there's a correlation between that as like a pattern that you've seen play out in your life many times. And so that's why they are paying really close attention to you, so that way you squeeze this pearl, like you hold on to it so it doesn't get caught in the netting. The Seven of Fire and the Secret Spring, Success, come next. And so there's something here, Virgo, about this is your mode of transportation. This technique, there's something about this technique right here. It's not unique to you. This is what your family has always done. This is how your family has always been transported. This is how they have moved. This is how they've transitioned. This is how they've survived. It's interesting because it's the feeling of looking back on your family and going, oh, like, we could have been in such a better place had this happened or had that not happened, right? But there's something about the techniques, the old magic of your family. Tradition is really big here, that were not written down. They were passed down. It's these rituals or these techniques or just like the way of doing things that maybe they weren't written down. They were passed down usually from word to mouth, but because it skipped a generation, it didn't get passed down from word to mouth to you necessarily. It was being poured into your subconscious, right? Sort of just this background file, and then it was triggered by these physical manifestations that were showing up outside of you, and you being excited about it, wanting to go, hey, I just learned this new thing, or I just figured this out, and wanting to share it. And your ancestors are coming in going, no, sit down. This is not for everyone. This is like a family secret. It's like a trademark. It's the trick of the trade. This is how, Virgo, we have been able to hold on to our pearls. This is how we have been able to make safe transition. These techniques, this magic, these skills, this is how we have survived for as many generations as we have. Even with this secret spring, this boat here, it like goes through a secret grotto. It's like this private river tunnel. It's under the cloak of night. This is a trick of the trade. It is trademarked from and for your family alone. And once with this Three of Fire coming up next, you get past the storm, or you learn this, or you realize this, you move to the other side, and then this Nine of Fire comes out. And there's like this deep feeling of satisfaction here all of a sudden, because it's the thing that you didn't realize. Why can't I share this with other people? Why do I have to sit down? Why are there so many of you around me all of the time? Why can't I do what I want the way I want to do it? And they're coming forward and saying, because the way that you want to do it, not only is it maybe not working for you, and let's be honest about that, but also tap into the power that we have as a family by having these certain techniques, by having these rituals, by having these special ways about us. And I almost hear them going, we know that you're stubborn, you get it from us. Like it's like a family trait, right? But this is the stuff that has always ensured our success as not just an individual or not just as a family, but through our generational lines. And Virgo, you are a part of not only learning, but upholding and then passing down those traditions after you as well. You are a part of this. There's strength in numbers here. And so when you finally get it, when it clicks for you, this 9 of Fire comes out, and it's sort of like this deep feeling of satisfaction, because each of these stars, remember the card we started with at the top of your reading, right? It's like the one who has all of the stars from all of the generations. It's like you can see now how that technique or that skill, that ritual, whatever it is, it's going to be so different for all of you, but you can kind of start connecting the dots and see where it started and see how it was passed down through the generations, but also see maybe where there was a gap, where it stopped being passed down, where it stopped being shared amongst the family, amongst the bloodline. And if you notice right here, this is all this beautiful sort of elemental fairy energy. It's coming from you, and it's kind of now being added to this. You are learning, integrating, and now passing down the tradition, the skills, the techniques after like a gap period where they weren't being utilized, which allows you to round out your reading with this beautiful refuge card. And if you notice, there's sort of this orb here, but it looks very much like your pearl. And so there's something about not just seeing a goal, not just wanting a goal, not just briefly experiencing it, but actually being able to hold it, to take ownership of it, to have it in your hand and be able to maintain it and not have it stripped away from you. Does that make sense? And there is refuge that you can take in that. There is refuge and power in the old ways. There is refuge and power in the old traditions. There is power in your family line. There is power in these traditions. And there may have been a gap, but it is, I want to say it's like your duty or your responsibility, but I don't want to necessarily, it is your opportunity. Thank you. It is your opportunity now to reclaim them, not just for your own survival, not just for your own success, but also so that way you can re-begin to pass these down through the generations that come after you. And that in and of itself is powerful. So, Virgo, this is what I have for you. You have a long reading this week, but it's like we had to, far be it from me, to cut the ancestors off short, right? So I really hope that this was helpful for you today, Virgo. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope this explains some stuff that's going on for you. I am going to go do an extended reading. If you're interested in your extended reading to see how these continue to play out, I will put your links in the description box. You have a choice between Vimeo and Patreon. Vimeo is just this extended. Patreon is all of the extendeds. But if you're interested in your extended, your monthly reading for April, your mid-monthly reading for April, all of that will be down below for you with all of the Patreon links. If you want to book with me for a reading or intuitive coaching, you could book with me through my website. I love you very much. It's all working out. Go reclaim your birthright, and I will see you later. Goodbye.